Hello guys, Craftware is a great alternative to Cura and Simplify 3D and other slicers, and it definitely has a lot of adjustments you can have. Not as much as Cura, but in some cases I also think Cura has too many. It seems to be a very reliable slicer. I have now used it for a while, 14 days maybe, 3 weeks. And I'm still very impressed with the quality it comes out with. As an example here, you have this wing for my CNC router, and as you can see here, it's really amazing layers and printed, as by the way, printed on my Sidewinder, and it really does great in slicing the products. I did, matter of fact, have some problems with my Wanhao, both with Simplify 3D and Cura, and that was Cura 4.7. And here you see the engine mount for the stepper mount, and you can also see here, it's absolutely gorgeous. I had to redesign it again because I need a bigger stepper motor. It was too tough for the NEMA 17 stepper motor to run on the rails. So this is now the upgraded version I have made, and now I'm waiting for the parts and see how this will work with my steppers. So let's go to the computer and take a look on Craftware, and I will show you how easy it is to use. So when you open Craftware, you get this really nice interface here, and to the left you have new projects. This means you can start a whole new setup. You can open a project, you can save a project, you can save as, and that's it on the right side. On the top you have several buttons. And the first you absolutely need to use is the add button, and that's where you add an STL file. I will take this Z-axis, my beta version. So now I get an item that I have created for my Z-axis to my CNC router. And the first thing I want to look at here is it's not in a perfect direction, because this will create a lot of supports from here and up. So I would like to tip it down on this side to be on the bed. And for that, you just use the drop button, and down here, the good thing in Craftware is you always get information on what's going on. And right now here, you can see there are some remarks on this, how you use a mouse and so on. For me, it's quite simple. I want to turn it down to the bed here, so I just click with the left mouse button, and you see it's placed on the bed. One thing here is now it's not in the center, and if I want to move it to the center, I can take the move tool, and you can of course use the arrows if you want that, or want to do up and down. Now you see it becomes red, and that's because you are far below the bed. So it's outside your bed. But there's another one. If you just want to realign it to the bed and in the center, you just click realigned here, and everything is good now. So you can also rotate your item by using again these arrows. And you see now I can rotate it as I want in all types of directions. And again, we are totally out of set point. You can see an angle snap here, and it will snap to every 15 degrees. You can of course change this to every 5, every 10, every 1 degrees if that's what you need. I rarely use these, very little. I reset my object, so I have to click my drop. I will click this one, I will click my move, and I will click my align, and I'm there. You also have some bisect mode and split mode. I have never used them, but there's a very good explanation on it at the left side, or sorry, at the right side. So you now download my file from for the import of the filament and the printer. And first we start with the printer, and that is here in the options tab. You have some general settings, checks for update and so on. You can choose some different languages here. I have the English language. Then you go to graphics. There is nothing to do here. By installation it has determined your settings for your video card and so on. Then you have shortcuts here. That is a pre-setup, and you can of course change this. And you have here different colors. This is the extrusion rates. This is the segment type colors, if it's infill, supports and so on. And this is a feed rate scale, and the tool head colors if you have more than one extruder. I have not changed anything here. Then you have the printer itself, and you can see I have right now loaded Artillery X1 my PETG configuration, and that's because for this item I want to print this in PETG. But you also see here I had Artillery for PLA and TPU. Then to import a new printer, you have unpacked your zip file that you downloaded from my server, and you can see here I have several. These one are interesting. It's a PLA TPU, it's the same settings, and it's PETG, and you import them one by one, and then you store them. And if they ask to, you can see here is my PETG. I click OK, and then it asks if you want to override. Yes, of course, because every time you make the changes. So I already made the script here. This is for the Artillery X1. And I already made the script here in the heater section and the footer section. When that is done, you click OK. Here, you can add the values, how much the cost is in your currency per, I think it's per meter. Yeah, price per meter. So what is the price per meter of that filament you have chosen? You can also enter the density. I think the most of them are here, and yeah, they are good to go as they are. So now you click OK. So we have installed our Sidewinder, and we are now ready to create the supports. And here there will be a lot of supports, and there's one place I don't want supports at all. It's on these 3 small holes, because they are only, if I remember right, it was 3 millimeters. So there is no need for having supports, but they will come because I will auto generate. I will not add the supports manually as I do here. You can of course do that, but in this case it will be a lot of supports. So let's auto generate. You can say from bed only, but in this case, nah, I don't want it because I need supports in these bigger holes here. So now we just auto generate, and boom, you can see there is a lot of supports, and I also got supports in my holes where I not want them, but we will remove them very soon. My support base thickness is 0.6 millimeters. I think it comes with 1.2 millimeters as standard. You need to try to experiment a little bit how it's best for you. And scaled by, I never found out what scaled by is. Scaled by 2. Yeah, so I want to remove what is in the holes of of the 3mm hole. And you do that by holding Control and click the left mouse button. And you need to, on that way, to erase every one. Now you see it's clear. The same we will do here. A left mouse button, hold it, Control button, hold it down and click with the left. And the same we do here. And yeah, here we are. And right now we are ready to slice. And you see on this way here we got very little, or at least less supports. I have a mistake here when I aligned the object, so it will, matter of fact, make an unnecessary thing here. So now we want to slice this item here. And before we do that, you will need to import the slicer settings. And in the file you downloaded, you will have all the settings, and you import them one by one. And this will give you, as example here on the PETG, let's take let's take artillery PLA. So my nozzle size is, it starts with the basics. You have a basic tab, and you have also a quick choice here. I don't use a quick choice. I always use my presets and change them, because it is better to have quite a lot of control here. Let's take the PETG, by the way, because that's what I had my printer set up to. So the PETG, it's still the same extrusion width. It's 0.4 millimeters. The layer height is 0.2. The draw speed is 60 millimeters per second. The artillery can be quite fast, but when I print PETG, I do not want to push it too much, especially not on such a big print as this one. It's better to use more time and then get safe into the harbor. Huh? The diameter of the filament, the extruder flow rate is 100%. And then we come to the vertical shells. The good thing, when you click in here, you get this picture to the left, and it tells you what are we talking about. And layer high, as an example, you can see these layers here. This is the layer high we are talking about, is 0.2. Here it simulates how fast it goes with 60 millimeters per second. If I now change this to 80 millimeters per second, oops, you see it goes faster. But I will change it to 7 again. No, 60. So on the loop count, you can see this is a loop and the red one is a loop, and it counts 2. If I do one more here, 3 now, it will get 3. And well, in this case, I think 2 is enough. Then we have the vertical shell here. I almost never do any offset or anything here. Especially on the artillery, it is an extremely accurate printer. So here I have never done anything. Then you have a top and bottom layer, and this is how many layers you, of course, when you enter your print, how many layers do you put here? I want to put 4. It has a key lock here. You can, of course, unlock, and you can change it, and each by bottom or by top layer. And the thickness right now here will be 0.8 millimeters, and this is a 0.2 times 4, which is good for this print on the top and the bottom. The infill is down here, and in this case I have 40% infill, and also on the infill we increase the speed by 25%. Then you have the waste mode, and you can do the spiralized, and take it off again. Then you have the advanced tab. What I have changed here is like the travel speed, yeah? Mainly to move fast to the next starting point. Then another one that I use quite a lot is of course the foundation, and I have on the X1 I have a draw speed on the foundation for 50 millimeters per second and a travel speed of 75. The temperature is still 100. The set adjust, well, I have a good level bed, so I don't need at all any adjustments here. So I always use a skirt, and it is mainly to prime, and just to be sure, in my starting script we do prime and purge the nozzle, but I also do with an offset here. I do a skirt, minimum 250 millimeters length, depends on how it is, and I do 2 loops. This is again just to be sure that I have no old filament or something. It's really annoying if you get some big part of old filament released in your object when you are printing it. Then you also can do the brim, and the brim is, as you can see here on the picture, is how many loops you want to do and how thick it will become. Brim I only use when I have very, very small objects. And then here, what is really a good way to do things in Craftware is if you need to make a raft. And you can insert before, you can insert after, and you can delete them. But here, as you see, it's already preset. I can load, or here we have an ABS. If you print ABS, you can use this. For PLA and PETG, I would use the presets that is here. And it's done very, very slowly in the beginning, and this will absolutely increase your printing time a lot. Raft is good to use if you have a big footprint object. In my case, I don't need it. Then we are coming to the temperature and speed. On the fan, I will use the fan, of course, and I will use it 100% through this print. You can't in Craftware have your fan on 50% and so on, but you can disable the fan on some layers. I almost all the time have the fan on, especially if I again have a big footprint. I absolutely turn on the fan from the first layer. I think standard is fan off on the first three layers, which I think is far too much. Maximum on the first layer. Then we have the bed temperature. Remember, this is PETG, so I will be on 80 degrees on the bed. By hooking in weight here, we want the printer to wait for the 80 degrees. And I have a nozzle temperature of 232. How did I come to 232? Because I made a heat tower on my filament on the PETG when I got it. Here we set heat up simultaneously. This means we take the bed first, and then we go to to the nozzle after that. Then I have made a G-code here. It's because I want this prime the nozzle, and I do a quick wipe at the end. Nothing more to say to that. That is, and the rest is if you have more than one extruder. So this is the, I will store this one and override it, right? This is the settings now that I want to use for my print on my Z-axis beta item. So I click slice here, and it will go up, and it tells me it has to use 11 hours and 22 minutes. I can tell you, in this beta version, the time here is not very accurate. It takes some more times in reality when you print your item. But I guess that Craftware Craftbot will change that. But anyway, there's quite good information here, which is how long the filament you need, how many travel moves you do in person. That's quite nice. How much retraction prime we do, Z-axis move, set travel remove, and so on. But here also, based on the density that was set up in the beginning, if you remember that, I can see the weight of the filament. So we have created our item, and we are ready to print. We have no supports in the small hole here. It makes sense. And yeah, and now we need to save it. You can of course save on a pen drive, or you can save the G-code on an SD card. Yeah, folks, and that's it. It's very easy to use. Okay, wait, you can see here. One thing that is good. You saw I clicked on the G-code here, and it's because if you use the slides here, and we go totally from the start, here you can see and follow what's going on the G-code, right? Here now we are doing the outline, the skirt, and it starts to print. So you can, if you want, follow what's going on in the print, and sometimes it's really nice to see if you see a problem or whatever. And you can see, you remember my script I put into our G-codes. That's how I can see here. We home all axis, reset extrusion distance, we move the nozzle, and we set the nozzle temperature to 230. That's because this information is not coming from the G-code we made. This is coming from the printer setup and implemented to the G-code. So it lifts the nozzle, it moves and get ready to prime. It resets again the extrusion distance, and then it primes the nozzle for 80 millimeters at F600, and then it do after that 20 millimeters of a quick wipe, and that's where we push filament through. So if there is something, maybe a little glop or whatever, we push it out. And then we set the head temperature, and we set the bed temperature, and then it starts with the first layer, which is here. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope you like the slicer. For me, it makes absolutely amazing print, and yeah, try it out. It's free, so nothing to lose. Okay, bye bye.